This is GACenter, your look at the Grand Arena Championships of content creators from around the globe. Here are your hosts, Flair from Gaming Embers and the Nev from the Escape Podcast.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful, wonderful people. It is time for GACenter. It is, Flair, we've already made it to the halfway point, but this is like the halfway point because obviously this is the end of month show. So like we've officially made it to halfway through the season.
Thank the Lord.
I know, it feels good, doesn't it? Feels good.
Oh, thank the Lord.
Yes, well, if you are watching now, do not turn off halfway through, okay? Wait until we get to the end, because, oh my God, have we got some interesting announcements and stuff to tell you. When we reach thoughts and acknowledgements today, I mean, like, seriously, you know, things are getting so shook up. So, I mean, if you're watching now and you're thinking, crap, there are people missing from chat, go get them.
Get them.
Go get them and make sure that they are here for the end of the show, because like some major, you know, shaking up going on in GACenter.
And I guess I'll build a little bit of housekeeping before we actually really get started here. First off, the Escape Podcast is officially at 700 followers.
Woohoo!
And definitely, I know that we've seen a ton of traction over the last couple of months between this and the main show. So seriously, guys, thank you all so much for the support that you all have shown us. And you know, obviously Paul and Neil and everything else that's gone on here. Tons of stuff that's been happening as of late. It's been super awesome. Really been excited to be a part of this production. And as usual, our thoughts and acknowledgement section is going to be where we recognize any follows, bits, subs, anything like that. Obviously, our moderators in chat will recognize those as well. But that way we can get to a jam-packed episode of GACenter.
And we don't have to say things like chew effing chew. You know, we can just stick to the stats.
Stick to the program.
Yes, GAC,
right, Neil.
Nothing but GAC.
All right, Neil, we're halfway there. Let's get going.
Okay, so it's Bulldog. Now, we all know the guy never loses. You know, he had a good month, but he didn't have as good a month as he could have had. I mean, you can see from the wins that he wasn't winning every single time. I mean, he only actually got one triple whammy all last month. The rest of the weeks 1, weeks 2, and weeks 4, just regular triples, not getting full clears. He only picked up 5 flawless victories all month. So, you know, he's definitely starting to meet some resistance. But, hey, 12-0 is still 12-0.
Infidum this month has just shown himself very well. 12-0. You know, week 1 was not a triple crown. It was a triple whammy. But weeks 2, 3, and 4 were triple crowns. Absolutely smashed it. And he's going to continue smashing it as he proceeds into the next division. So excellent work. 12-0, Infidum.
Flair, 10-2. Your first 2 weeks, you were kind of like, you know, the first two weeks were kind of like off weeks, but weeks 3 and 4, it was like, whoosh. You know, you just like went to town on your opponents, like back to back triple crowns.
Week
back to back
2
triple crowns.
was really a tough week for me. I remember it because it was that week that had the fleets that dictated whether or not I won or I went triple crown or not.
Yeah, you were not the first half. Yeah, first half of the month you weren't liking it, but yeah, back to back triple crowns in weeks 3 and weeks 4. Yeah, you came good in the end.
It was clinical after that. But hey, Commander Cody went 11-1 actually. Weeks 1 and 2 were pretty simple for him. 3-0, no triple crowns, but he still got the wins there. Week 3 was where things shook up a little bit. He went 2-1. Had some issues going in that week, but hey, after that he cleaned up very nicely with a 3-0 in week 4. So 11-1 for Commander Cody.
Brainkill actually had close. He was so close to a perfect month. He got 11 flawless victories. 11 flawless victories. Triple crown in weeks 1, 2, and 4. But and here's the weird part. The weird part is the week 3. It just I still can't quite understand it. He didn't finish things and he didn't complete things. But hey, 12-0 is still 12-0. It was still a good month for Brainkill. And that is Division 5. That's how people did. 3 people went undefeated. But say goodbye to Division 5, ladies and gentlemen. The last time you're ever going to see it. Find out at the end of the show.
Yep. Yeah, we'll talk about more about that at the end of the show. So.
And obviously, that is the current standings. You'll never see that again. So, the Lone Gunman, I mean, 9-3 is 9-3 is a decent week. A decent month. 9-3 is a decent month. He picked up a couple of triples. He got a triple in week 1, a triple in week 2. Didn't really get into, the flow of things during the month. He only had 2 flawless victories, and he only had 4 full clears throughout the entire month. So a lot of those victories were hard fought, in the dirt, not getting full clear victories. So 9-3, pretty decent stats.
Stone also went 9-3. Week 1, he went 2-1. He remembers that he didn't place a fleet in round 2, which caused him to take the L there. Week 2 was another 2-1, but just losing battles and efficiencies. Week 3, it was solid triple crown, only to come back week 4 with another 2-1. Stone had a pretty good. Again, it's an average. It's a good month going 9-3. Only losing 3, a quarter of the matches is not bad, considering we only do 12 matches the entire month.
An undefeated month for Renard the Fox, but he's still going to kick himself with the losses. He picked up 2 triple crowns, and he was very, very close in getting whammies in weeks 1 and weeks 3, which were just regular triples. But again, some tough defenses stopped him in his tracks, stopped him from getting full clears. I mean, he's still strung together 9 flawless victories all month, which is pretty damn good, and 1 full clear. But, when you've gone undefeated, you're looking for the whammies and you're looking for the crowns. And unfortunately, Renard only picked up 2 triple crowns this month.
Orlamar coming in with a 12-0 as well. He had an undefeated month, and week 1 was kind of fun because round 3 he won it by banners, despite the fact that he got full clear 1 shot, and he had to 2-tap a team. So on the losing side of the match and still coming back with the win. Week 2, solid, clinical 3-0. Week 3 was a triple crown. And then week 4, another 3-0. 12-0 for Orlamar.
Moyo had just one of those blah months. It's just blah. 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2. You do. Every now and then somebody you'll have. It's consistent. You can't argue against it being consistent. But, he did make some good victories in there. He did pick up 7 flawless victories and a full clearance. But obviously, the other 4 he lost. Hence 8 and 4. But hey, he's not going to be bugged too much about that.
Andy, unfortunately, going 7-5. It's not been the worst months for Andy. Of course, throughout the course of the week. The only thing he didn't see was an 0 for 3. Week 1 was a 2-1. Week 2 was a 1-2. He was celebrating week 3, taking a 3-0. And then week 4, unfortunately, came back with a 1-2. Al was definitely doing some plays for him, but our Canadia's favorite son is still trekking on as usual.
Oh, Vendetta had a stonking month. Absolute blinder. 2 triple crowns, 2 whammies. He picked up 10 flawless victories and 2 full clearances. Absolutely cracking month for Vendetta.
And Orlamar coming in with
you've done Orlamar.
Marco. I don't know why. Even though we've been doing this so long, I still make mistakes every so often. Marco going 9-3. And this doesn't actually paint a good scenario of what happened this month. 3 of the weeks, he went 3-0. The week that was technically an 0 for 3 was the fact that for the second month in a row, he has been kicked. He claims to have been kicked out of GAC for a week. So obviously, when you don't play, we count that as an 0 for 3. So if I imagine if he had actually played that week, we could have been seeing a 12-0.
Very possible.
Very possible.
Okay, so there is a slight error in the stats for JKW. We had a glitch with Jake back in week 3. We asked him to pipe up and let us know what he got, but we got no response. So we wrote it down as a 0-3 when technically he actually got a triple crown that week. So, exactly.
That's a big difference.
Kind of thing you'd think someone would be screaming from the rafters. So technically, well, not technically, he did actually get a 10 and 2. He had two whammies, a triple crown. It was his last week. It was his week 4 that was his undoing. But up until that point, he'd gone 9-0. So a 10 and 2, not, as it says on the screen, a 7 and 5 for Jake.
So let's bear that in mind as we're looking at the Div 3 and 4 table. Because realistically speaking, Jake should actually be in 4th position.
He should.
Just underneath Renard.
Absolutely, he should, yeah.
So, but I mean, look at that. We still got 3 people going completely undefeated. And you know, Vendetta, Orlamar, Renard, all doing great. Andy, Al has been playing some games for him. We can tell that, but Andy's just trucking on. He's doing great.
And there is the last time, which we'll explain at the end of the show, the last time you'll see the Div 3-4 board. And as you can see, it is still a fist fight between Orlamar and Vendetta. I mean, it does seem to go backwards and forwards between those two, doesn't it? It does.
And also, again, in relation to our last one, Jake should actually be just under Stone for placement on this table. So again, full acknowledging what happened.
Okay, let's move on. It's Kate. Now, Kate had a very consistent week. I mean, it was a bit weird. I mean, she had the luck of the Irish at the start because she had I think it was something like 5. From the month before and this, she had 5 no-shows. So she started off week 1 with a triple, but that was kind of the best she got because she didn't really register anything in weeks 2, 3, or 4. She didn't get any flawless victories, and she only picked up 5 full clears. But hey, 8 and 4, still a good month.
Absolutely. Your arch nemesis, Fartmart.
Former arch nemesis. Yeah, another thing we'll talk about at the end of the show. What?
Yes. Many things have changed.
Many things have changed.
But Fartmart going 11-1. Week 1, he was on vacation. And while he's on vacation, he had an impressive Nest versus Padme 3PO team. And that gave him a 3-0 right there. Weeks 2 and 3 were clinical 3-0s, doing his normal thing, setting heavy defenses here and there and doing shenanigans. And you're just like, oh, why do you set everything on defense when you can go for full clears and get all the banners and everything? No, I'm Neil. Week 4, unfortunately, was when tragedy struck, and he got a 2-1. He could have very easily probably gone 12-0. Much to your chagrin, he went 2-1. So yeah. 11-1, Fartmart.
Another one of the Bounty Honeys, the queen of consistency, Geeko. Again, with another month of excellent consistency, 9-3. She had a triple in week 1. She even picked up a triple whammy in week 3. She had 1 flawless victory and 5 full clears for a very, very solid 9-3 for the month.
On to Boma Fett. Rocking it with the 12-0. Weeks 1 and 2 didn't have too much of an issue there. Had pretty little problems. Week 3 was a triple crown. Had absolutely no issues. Come back week 4 with a triple whammy. Boma has been doing very consistently well across the course of this, and it's showing in his scores.
It's our favorite space cowboy, and he had an average week. Average week. I keep saying week. It's a month. It's a month. We're doing the monthly show. He had an
We've
average
only been doing this for how many months
now? Yeah, it didn't do amazingly, but he did kind of average. You know, he did pick up a triple in week 3. He had 3 flawless victories this month, and he picked up 5 full clears. So, hey, he still did the business. He just didn't do the business as efficiently as he usually does on a monthly basis. But 8 and 4, still good score for the month.
On to Yeti. Yeti, for the second month in a row, went 11 and 1, and it was always at the last minute when it occurred. Weeks 1 and 2, clinicals for him. He's going up against Galactic Legends, and he's been just conquering them, outplaying them, using SWGOH.gg, who provides all of our stats and everything, to help prepare an excellent defense and an offensive strategy that works. And it showed in week 3 as well, giving him a triple crown. Unfortunately, in week 4, he suffered a round 3 loss. And again, for the second month straight, this has occurred. So Yeti's kicking himself a little bit, but still a very impressive 11 and 1.
Scribe, 10 and 2, pretty good month. Picked up a triple in week 1, finished off the month with an absolutely blistering triple crown. Picked up a total of 7 flawless victories and 2 full clears throughout the month. So yeah, 10 and 2, lots of wins, kept the losses down low, and had a really, really good month. 10 and 2 for Scribe.
Now I'm not gonna rib you too much. You didn't rib me too much either.
I didn't roast you at all.
No, you didn't. You did not at all. Neil going 11 and 1. First 2 weeks were pitch perfect for you. 3 and 0, triple crowns, no problems whatsoever there. Week 3 was met with unfortunate end when you had to go against, what was it, a 300 speed Revan
Relic 4 Darth Revan, Relic 4 Bastilla with 300 speed on both of them. Yeah. And my opponent had already scored a 1930, so I knew I had to single tap it.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, just didn't have the minerals to do that.
No, GG didn't have the minerals.
But week 4, while it wasn't a triple crown, you still managed to get the 3 and 0. But still a solid month, and you've got a lot more coming your way, buddy.
Oh, I know. Promotion to Div 1. Okay, so Rand did not have a good month. Did not, I think I remarked during the month that he was getting too many 2 and 1s, and then he got a 1 and 2. So yeah, he washed out on every single week, X's in every single week. I mean, he did pick up 4 flawless victories through the month, and he did pick up a couple of full clears, but 2 full clears and 4 flawless victories, it's just, yeah, he did not have a very good month. I'm sure he'll come back fighting though.
Gator, and this is another one of those, like Jake, that there are some issues with the reporting. Not too big of a grievance, thankfully. Instead of going 6 and 6, he went 7 and 5. We had some issues with his data last week, and even though he had a report, just the SWGOH.gg data didn't reflect that. It just had nothing. So week 1 was a 2 and 1. He had really low wins, and just kind of rough for him. Week 2 was a 2 and 1. Week 3 was a very, very low performing week. Not a lot of full clears, and just kind of having a hard time there in general. Unfortunately, week 4 was one of the first few times he got a 1 and 2. And Gators had a lot of trouble this month, especially. So hopefully, well, I say hopefully, but we realize what's coming up starting this next season, this next month of GAC. So I'm not going to say that, but 7 and 5 for Little Gator.
And there is Division 2. Look at Bomber sneaking to the top. The only person. I mean, there me and the Fortmort rivalry, and Yeti's in there as well. But Bomber, it's like, oh, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. I'm not going to ruffle anyone's feathers, and I'm just going to sneak to the top, and that's what he did. And you'll see that in the next table. There it is. Look at that. Snuck all the way at the top. Still doesn't have as many banners as me, but doesn't really matter anymore.
But hey, banners doesn't matter when he has a win on you.
No, it doesn't. But and it doesn't really matter anymore now anyway. Not when you think about it. And
on here as well, Little Gator's his position actually doesn't change. The only difference would just be the numerical, the numbers, but they don't actually change because he has his less points than Rand. So there's no change there. But just to clarify for everybody.
Yeah, that's why we do it in red, because the red is there simply to, stipulate to us. It's a visual aid. It's a visual aid for us. We don't have data from SWGOH just yet, so we need to keep our eye on it so that when it does appear, we know that needs to be changed, and it'll definitely reflect what needs to be reflected next week. So that's it. Division 2. We'll be moving on to the big boys, won't we, mate?
Absolutely, and this is where we have some big changes happening, and it's going to be really exciting. But Neil, before we get into this break, I think we have some pretty big, exciting news starting this next month.
Oh, yes, right? We do. Yeah, absolutely. So at the after the first break, starting
during the first break.
Sorry, during the first break. Yeah, it's kind of it's like, I think we're going to run the ads and then we're going to run the table. So it's like, it is technically during the break and also technically after the break. It's a pre-recorded bit. But yes, during/after the first break, starting next week, we will have a Patreon leaderboard. So see patreon.com/theescapepod for more details if you, out there in Patreon land, would like to be on the show at the first break, because we can make that happen.
Absolutely. And we'll have more details about that at the end of the episode as well.
Okay, right. Is it time for a commercial break?
Neil, I think it's time for a commercial break.
Shall I push the button?
Yeah. On the other side of this, guys, we're going to be looking at our big hitters. Neil, press that button.
SWGOH.GG is your one-stop site for the raw data behind the game Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. From complete gear lists to intuitive stats behind all of your favorite holotable heroes. SWGOH.GG has it all. With a .GG account, you can get a complete view of your own roster, see how you match up against other players, and even check out the history of your own Grand Arena Championship matches. You can also see what your opponent used on you to give you a better understanding of counters and team compositions to improve your gameplay. Did you know that they also have some great Patreon features as well? Ad-free browsing of their site, guild information, and manual information requests are included in their 3 levels of Patreon support. Check out the site for more details. That's SWGOH.GG. Unleash your holotable potential today.
Did you know that if you signed up to become a Patreon, you could get tons of rewards? Force Ghost Scotty could do a roster review for you. Neil Andrew Air could share Grand Arena tactics. Or Paul could even help you get maximum stars in Geonosis Territory Battle. And you even get access into the after show. Sound good? Sign up to be a Patreon today. For as little as $2 a month, you could unlock a ton of potential content and also get closer to the hosts. Head to patreon.com/theescapepod to sign up.
Have you been interested in getting items 3D printed but haven't wanted to buy one of those expensive printers? Are you looking for a literally one-of-a-kind tech gift gadget? Evil Genius 3D Printing and Gadgets is your one-stop shop for both of those items. Nerd-owned and EscapePod approved, put Lenny the Evil Genius to work for you. If you can dream it, he could possibly make it. Contact Lenny at evilgenius3dprinting@gmail.com for more information. That's evilgenius3dprinting@gmail.com. Get something unique in your hands.
And welcome back, you lovely, lovely people. It's big boy time. Well, it's little big and then big boy. It's little big boy and then big boy time.
Little big boy, big boy.
Yeah, little big boy, big boy. So let's bring up our first little big boy. And it is RSG Finn. Now, Finn had a really weird week, a 9-3.
Week?
Sorry, month. Why do I keep... You know what? I'm just stuck in week mode at the moment. I'm so stuck in week mode. It is the
above
month.
me, it says month.
I know above you it says month. I need to look. So every time I think I'm going to say week, I'm going to look at that. Anyway, Finn had a bit of an off month. It wasn't Grande's fault. It was Fruit Snacks' fault, I guess. I mean, he kept on blaming the lack of fruit snacks, but as soon as he had the fruit snacks, everything was fine. So, he only picked up one triple, and it was a triple whammy in week 2. And then weeks 1, weeks 3, and weeks 4 were just kind of average. I mean, he did pick up 3 flawless victories, and he did pick up 3 full clears, but just definitely below Finn's usual par. 9-3 for the month.
Daggum fruit snacks. DB going 7-5. Had it kind of rough. Week 1 was a 2-1. He did come back very strong and solid in week 2 with a triple crown, absolutely taking no mercy. Unfortunately, that lack of mercy became a quick little laugh when he missed lock-in by a few minutes in week 3. Coming back in week 4 with another 2-1. So 7-5 for DB. We were hoping he was back in action, but man, that missing a week definitely hurt him.
DPK had another off week, unfortunately. Weeks 1, 2, and 3 were just not what he wanted. And I mean, he really didn't want what happened in week 4, which was an 0-3. He got the wooden spoon. Only picked up 2 flawless victories and 1 full clear all month. Definitely a month DPK is going to want to forget very, very, very fast.
Next we've got Grid. Man, Grid is really good at GAC, but this was just kind of a rough one for him. Week 1 started out amazing with a triple crown, had absolutely no problems. Weeks 2 and 3 were okay. I mean, for a guy who goes pretty heavy on his offense, he still went 2-1, and some of those were literally just manners of efficiency. And then in week 4, it just turned for the worse. We got a 1-2. It's getting tougher for people, and especially if all those kind of cards don't line up just right, it just kind of gets worse and worse. But Grid is, we're past another month, and who knows, maybe this next month and all the fun shenanigans with it will give him a better outlook.
That you beautiful man. You 5-7. Kind of what we've come to expect from Thaddeus. Week 1, he was on vacation. He had Wi-Fi. He had an internet connection, but just kind of thought, nah. So that kind of definitely screwed him over. And then obviously weeks 2, weeks 3, weeks 4, just kind of like, meh, blah, blah. 2 flawless victories, 1 full clear, and 135 losses. He will not be denied that title, that's for sure.
And find out more about that and the discussion with him during our next segment. Anyways, on to Spartan. Spartan, 7-5. Week 1 was a 3-0. He had 2 tough defenses to deal with in that first week, and weaker one in round 3, but still got through it just fine. Week 2, 1-2. And then he bounced back a little bit in week 3 with a 2-1. Only to bounce back with a 1-2, and some of those were because he just wasn't even there to play those rounds. So a 7-5 for Spartan.
Black Mamba had a absolutely cracking month. I mean, yes, the 2 losses are in there, and he will be kicking himself over that. He had a triple in week 1. Unfortunately, a 2-1 in week 2. Had a glorious triple crown in week 3, and then again just couldn't quite sustain that momentum into week 4, but absolutely cracking week. Picked up 9 flawless victories throughout the month, and 10-2 for Black Mamba. Pretty good month.
Ian, it's just Ian. Funny thing is the entire time we've been doing this, he's actually recently changed his in-game name to like Plo Jobs Clear All the Buzz Droids. Funny name. But what's also odd is just the consistency of this month. 2-1s every single week. And he's had some new toys that he's been working with and everything, and obviously things are changing as we're relicking new characters and whatnot. So maybe the Theory Crafter will be figuring out some better teams as we go on, and maybe the results will change in his favor. Again, this next month, who knows what's going to happen?
Your guess is as good as mine. Okay, Macias. Good month for Macias. Picked up a triple crown and a triple whammy this month. His crown was in week 1. And his whammy was in week 3. Obviously, a couple of 2-1s in between week 2 and week 4. Had 9 flawless victories and 2 full clears in total. So he really did. Sorry, 8 flawless victories and 2 full clears. So he did have an exceptionally good month. He just didn't quite make it as perfect as some of those undefeated competitors that are his rivals.
You know who had a really solid month this month was our favorite beach bum, Mr. Gigabachi. Amidst all of the weird and crazy reports that he has given us, every single week he has come to GAC with a roster that is not designed for GAC. It's designed for territory battles, and he is rocked out with his shades out, throwing out silly chili vibes the whole time, and just taking it by storm. 12-0 for Gigabachi.
Biswees had an excellent month. He picked up a triple, a whammy, and a crown, and just a regular month. And it kind of like really started off bad. Then he got his whammy in week 2. Then he got back to a triple in week 3, and finished off the month with a flourish with a nice triple crown. 9 flawless victories and a full clear. So really good month. Biswees.
And next we got Wiggins-Bog, and we've seen him he was really good the first month, going pretty much undefeated. But we're coming here now to month 3, and we see him at a 10-2. Week 1 was 1 battle shy of a triple crown, but he still got a 3-0. Week 2 was where the tragedy struck. 1-2, absolute rough time there, but thankfully he came back and he bounced back strong with 3-0s in weeks 3 and 4. And again, he will probably bounce back, hopefully very strong as we get into this next month. So 10-2.
Whatever. Great month from my colleague from the ANZGC Alliance. Picked up 2 triple whammies and a triple crown. So really solid stats for whatever this month. His triple crown started off at the beginning, week 1. Went a little bit off tilt in week 2, but then came back in weeks 3 and weeks 4 with his whammies. Picked up 8 flawless victories, 3 full clears, 11-1. Excellent month for whatever.
He's Ranger.
Danger Ranger.
Ranger going 9-3 this month. And he pretty consistent across the board though. He's still going by his life as Kyber's life. 2 3-0s, and a 2-1, and actually no, I think I might have a mistype on the counts for the weeks, but because it should be 3 2-1s and a 3-0. But anyway, Ranger had a pretty consistent week and everything, and now you get to play with him as we go into this next month.
Yes, I get to play with him. I think I get to play with him.
Hopefully.
So that's No Moon got a 10 and a 2. He was flying high. The man with the poddy power odds halfway through was undefeated, and he's like, oh, I'm going to throw some odds. Who's going to go undefeated? No sooner had he put the odds on himself than he lost. So he started off with a triple, then got a triple crown, but then obviously weeks 3 and weeks 4, it didn't go his way. Still picked up 6 flawless victories, 3 full clears, so 10 and 2. Still a good month for Moon.
Next we've got it's Cubs fan Han, 9-3. Week 1 was a 2-1, and that was a week that was marked by having 20 wins, but also 20 losses. Week 2, he came back though with a triple crown, but then after that, it was consistent 2-1. Cubs had just had some rough times, but hey, we're here, we're past it. On to the next month.
Bitcoin undefeated for the month. Only been beaten by his girlfriend. Week 1, whammy. Week 2, whammy. Week 3, whammy. Week 4, whammy. Yeah. 7 flawless victories and 5 full clears. It does not get better. Well, could have got some crowns in there, but you're not going to complain with 4 triple whammies. 12-0 for the month. Bitcoin wins it. And there is the bottom of Division 1.
Look at that. Thaddeus, I'm proud of you, buddy.
Yeah, Finn, it's just so weird seeing Finn in the bottom. I know it's just for the monthly. I know it's just the monthly, but you expect Finn to do like a 10-2 or an 11-1, and then he'll blame that random 1 loss on Grande or his lack of snacks. But he lost 3 rounds this month, so
or maybe Ranger or something.
But we did have a couple, Bitcoin and Jigabachi, 2 people. We did get a couple people go undefeated this month, which is good. And you've already seen the regular division table, so you know how those ones went out. Going Nerdy not at the bottom, DPK having an absolutely horrendous month. Hope he turns it around over the next 3 months. And there is Bitcoin running away with it. We're at the halfway point, but 4 rounds is a lot for the chasing pack to have to catch up. It really, really is. Whatever Finn and Mr. Jigabachi, they need Bitcoin's girlfriend to play him some more, definitely. So let's move on to the big boys.
On to the big boys, and we talk about Mr. Wrestling Man, Scorch the Hoss. Had it rough. Week 1 was a 2-1, not terribly bad. But after that, it just got worse. Week 2 was a 1-2. Week 3 was a 1-2. And when you thought it couldn't get any worse, he comes up with an 0 for 3 in week 4.
Wooden spoons suck.
Yeah, he got a wooden spoon, and the spoon hurt. So hopefully, hey, maybe Scorch will turn this around as we go on. He's got all of the weirdo relics. Maybe they'll start to matter.
Heinze did, I don't know if 5 and 7's good for him. I mean, 5 and 7's kind of good for Heinze. The Aussie Adonis didn't get any significant triples this month, but he did pick up a wooden spoon in week 2, unfortunately. Only 1 flawless victory and 2 full clears all month. So, but, with the changes that have happened to GAC, a lot can happen. So let's see if a lot can happen for the Aussie Adonis next month.
On to Paul Anthony, your hetero life partner. 4 and 8 as well. He had it rough just as well. Week 1 was a 1-2. Even though he's managed to get some clears and actually do some damage in some nodes, just not enough. And that showed in week 2 where he suffered his first 0 for 3. Man, he had it rough. Week 3 was again another 1-2, but he came back on a more positive note on week 4 with a 2-1. So, it wasn't all terrible. Hopefully it gets better.
Mudbum 6 and 6 is not a true reflection of Mudbum's month. I mean, he didn't do particularly well in weeks 1, 2, and 3 anyway. And then a bison just kind of got in his way of week 4 because he was on vacation. He did pick up 3 flawless victories and 3 full clears on his way to get those 6 round wins. But 6 and 6, yeah, not an ideal month for Mudbum.
Mandy coming in with 9 and 3. Honestly, this has actually been a much better month for him comparatively to a couple of other ones.
Yeah, it has been a good month for our resident Kraken, definitely.
Week 1 was at 2-1, but it was also a week of full clear one shots. He had absolutely no issues, but he was just out bannered during one of his rounds. Weeks 2 and 3 were standard 2-1s for him, but he did come back strong in week 4 with a 3-0. He claimed the proper 3-0. So again, a solid turnout from Andy. He's done much better.
Lazy turtle. Yeah, he was trying to get by with a little help from his friends this month. Clearly, they weren't helping him as much as he needed it, and only got the 7 and 5. Didn't really pick up. Well, didn't really. He didn't pick up any triples at all this month, unfortunately. Only got 2 flawless victories, and only picked up 4 full clears. So yeah, 7 and 5. It's still above average, but you need to do better. You need to do better, Turtle. Better luck next month, mate.
On to Jake Johnson having a 7 and 5. Week 1 was a triple crown, where he had a tie in round 2 that caused him to take the lead there. Had some issues in week 2, just kind of got the spoon. Week 3 had a whammy, and week 4 was a 2 and 1. It could have been much better, especially in week 2. But Jake Johnson is definitely starting his stuff, especially in weeks 1 and 3.
And we're on to Ando. A lot of average for Ando this month. A lot of average and a Han Solo solo. No more Han Solo solos for you, Ando. Look what it did to you. Look what a Han Solo solo did to you. I mean, I'm sure Rambam's loving this. Rambam wants you to do all the Han Solo solos, because he knows how bad it can go for you. So, yeah, no triples. Did pick up 3 flawless victories, and he did pick up 5 full clears. But, yeah, the Han Solo doesn't work, Ando. Stop it.
Rambam rocking it, though, with a 9 and 3. He and Ando have been enjoying that little bit of rivalry that's been occurring at the top of the bottom and the bottom of the top. But he has. I think Rambam is slowly starting to eke his way up there. He does remember that it was stolen from him. The 10 and 2 was stolen in week 4. He could have had a 3-0, and it just didn't happen. But 2-1, 3-0, 2-1, 2-1. Pretty good month for Rambam.
Dylar. Oh, Dylar. This weird thing is Dylar had an abysmal month. I mean, he didn't get any triples. He picked up 2 flawless victories, and he picked up 4 full clears. But even though he had a really, really bad month, he actually picked up the GAC week record for highest banner score in a single round. He scored a 1964 during one of his rounds in week 3, which is now the current record holder. So it wasn't all bad this month. So you've got that consolation, Dylar.
Onto Grand Admiral Arnold, 9 and 3. Weeks 1, 3, and 4 were all 2 and 1s. But he enjoyed himself having a 3-0 during week 2. Solid performances throughout the board. A good handful of losses, but a good number of holds. Hey, he's enjoying while I got it. Take it.
Good month for Indy. Really, really good month for Indy. Picked up a couple of triples. Obviously, there was a couple of non-triples in there as well. Weeks 1 and weeks 3 were his triples. Weeks 2 and 4 were his not triples. But he still picked up some really, really good wins. Had 5 flawless victories and 3 full clears along the way at 10 and 2. Great month.
Klesso had a very solid month as well. 12 and 0. Triple whammies all across the board. And again, really good banner averages, because that's just what Klesso does really well. High banners.
Zareth, 11 and 1. Oh, yeah, he really, really didn't like losing that round in week 2. Yeah, whammy in week 1, whammy in week 3, whammy in week 4. But yeah, that week 2 loss, he's kicking himself for that. 5 flawless victories, 6 full clears. So we're not talking about just, we're not talking about like fart mark wins here where, he just does enough to get the win. We're talking full clears and flawless victories here. We're talking, class, pure class. Yeah, I'm talking about, not you, Four. So, good month for Zareth Prevails. He did. Just, he didn't prevail as much as he wanted to. 11-1 for Zareth.
End all be all. A defensive master, honestly, if we want to call it, preventing full clears all across the board. Unfortunately, in week 2, he went 2-1. Otherwise, he could have been a 12-0. But End all, again, is just really good at what he does, setting solid defenses and taking home the bread. So 11-1 for End all.
Zareth's compatriot and fellow co-host on the Gambit podcast didn't quite do as well as Zareth this month, unfortunately. He's kicking himself in weeks 2 and in weeks 4. Still got triple whammies in week 3 and week 1. Picked up 8 flawless victories. More flawless victories than Zareth, but obviously, only 2 full clears because it was a 10-2 after all. But still, 10-2, lots of wins, not that many losses. Really, really good month for Solo.
And rounding out our coverage is Fruit Ninja Mike, which as he's mentioned in chat, look away. He's ashamed. He went 9-3, which we've talked about him as the last little bit, and everything tragedy struck towards the end of last month, and he just had it rough. Week 1 was a 1-2, lots of bad things happening all at the same time. Week 2 and week 3, he came back and did his clinicals as usual with 3-0s, and week 4 unfortunately it was a 2-1. But Fruit Ninja Mike still doing pretty solid. And we'll see that on the board.
And there is the board. And Ando, in his favorite spot, is top of the bottom. Ando, I'm sorry, mate, but that's like really weird. You really like being the top of the bottom, don't you, mate?
Ando, what's in your what's in your little corner? Do you have a lazy boy? Do you have a jacuzzi? What's all up there?
Yeah, you seem to have claimed the top of the bottom spot, like permanently. Doesn't matter whether we're showing a monthly table or a league table. You like that spot. Let's have a look. Who's the bottom of the top, though? Oh, Ram! You could not plan this any better. You could not plan this any better. Ram Bam pipped you again, Ando. He is the bottom of the top. And if we look at the actual table, again, there he is. Ando is top of the bottom. Let's have a look at the top table. Oh, Dyla. Oh, Ram Bam, he's moving up. Banner difference only, though.
He upgraded to just above Dylar's floor in the suite.
But, all the people with the best... Look, the people with the best stats, you know where they are. You know where they are. They're always there. They are always there. Even
though Mike had a really rough month this month, you can still tell that he has a clear banner advantage over people like Endall. But Endall has a much more defensive strategy most of the time.
He does. It's the defense that is kind of like it does help him, obviously, because it's allowing him to secure more round wins. But obviously, in the event of those ties, that's the disadvantage. You can take that there are both advantages and disadvantages to going with the strategy that Endall. Endall does it. Endall does it. Fortmort does it.
He's going with the attacks. He's going with the attack turtle strategy.
Yeah,
and it's working.
But look at those defensive holds. Look at those defensive holds. Klesso's there as well, though. You can't you can't write off Klesso. Klesso had a cracking month. He was the only person at the top end of the table to go undefeated, and he's definitely in there with the chasing pack. So it's.
But yeah, and this is going to change a lot. But hey, before we talk about all that, we do all of our acknowledgments and everything. We have ourselves a fun interview with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Thaddeus, also known as Going Nerdy. So on the other side of this quick break, we will have our interview. Let's get over to that, Neil.
Okie dokie.
Are you a member of Team Paul or Team Neil? Maybe you prefer story time with the llama, or dabble in the buttery side of the Force with Biscuit Weasel. Or maybe you like the escape pod talents from Down Under like Heinzie and Scotty. No matter who you support, you can get one of my designs from the Escape Podcast merch store. Just go to escapepodcastaways.com, click on the merch link, and it will take you to the TeePublic site where you can support me, Mrs. Anthony, also known as Critty K. Also be sure to check out the Mrs. Anthony Shirts channel on the Escape Podcast's Discord server weekly to vote for my latest shirts in the Design Derby on Woot. Links for both of these are down below. Thank you for supporting the Escape Podcast.
Does your guild want to tap into their full potential in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes? Yeah! For as low as $1 a month per guild member, your guild can unleash the power of the game in ways you never thought possible. Ooh. Track your arena movements, guild progression, and much, much more. Contact Shitty Bill and get one of his shitty bots on your server today. Just look for him on our Discord server and tag or message him for more information. The link for our server is below in the description. Shitty bots, don't let the name fool you.
SWGOH.GG is your one-stop site for the raw data behind the game Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. From complete gear lists to intuitive stats behind all of your favorite holotable heroes. SWGOH.GG has it all. With a .GG account, you can get a complete view of your own roster, see how you match up against other players, and even check out the history of your own Grand Arena Championship matches. You can also see what your opponent used on you to give you a better understanding of counters and team compositions to improve your gameplay. Did you know that they also have some great Patreon features as well? Ad-free browsing of their site, guild information, and manual information requests are included in their 3 levels of Patreon support. Check out the site for more details. That's SWGOH.GG. Unleash your holotable potential today.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for our weekly guest. And tonight's weekly guest is a nerd. He's such a nerd, and he gets nerdier and nerdier and nerdier every single day. It's Going Nerdy. It's Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. Going Nerdy, how are you, Going Nerdy?
I'm good. How are you, Nev?
I'm fine. So, who are you pretending to be today?
No one. My voice is gone.
Oh, okay. Didn't sound like it was gone when we were talking before we started recording this.
It may come back in a moment.
You're Darth Lazius.
Yes.
Yes.
Darth Thaddeus.
No,
Move
Darth
my
Lazius.
chair to a more comfortable position.
Well, go on then. Use
Alright,
the Force.
So I think it's kind of pretty clear at this point, Thad, that in terms of GACenter, you have been making a name for yourself as the man who throws literally everything at an opponent's roster when you can't get past it.
Yes.
And it goes to show on the boards. Paul's been making an attempt at getting there, but clearly he's not doing it well enough.
He needs
So-
much training in the Force.
In the Force or in the ways of Darth Lazius?
Darth Lazius. The ways of Darth Lazius.
So, that I suppose that kind of explains your great start to the month, doesn't it? What did you do week 1 of this month's GAC?
I believe I didn't sign in.
No, you didn't sign it. So, classic Darth Lazy. Is that a classic Darth Laziest move?
Yes.
Would you agree with that? So,
It is definitely a Darth Laziest move.
and what was more important that week than signing up for GAC? I'm
You were
curious.
hiking.
Yes.
Were you in New Mexico when that was happening?
I was traveling.
Right. Okay.
Yes. But no. So, okay. All laziness aside, yes. I had access to the internet and simply forgot to log in.
To clock in to punch your time
To,
card
to
in.
punch the time card, right? Like, I had increased my minutes, my data sharing, go Verizon, right? To like 10 gigs. And my wife doesn't use any data. So I was like, I'm going to use all the data while I'm here. And so I'm hiking around the mountains of New Mexico. And I had data everywhere. And I just didn't log in. There's no excuse for it.
Okay, so week 1 aside, which we know is 0 and 3. I mean, it's not 0 and 0. It's, by default, it's a 0 and 3. Great start to the month. And then the next few weeks kick in. What was going through your mind regarding your loss record? Because you'd lost a week of being able to clock up those losses, hadn't you?
I did. And so
you must have been so disappointed in yourself.
I was a little disappointed. I was. I gotta say, I was a little disappointed. I'd heard that there was a chance that there would be an award for the most losses. And knowing that I was never going to get to the most wins, especially after my week's performance, I needed an out, and my goal was win as little as possible. Okay, hit me.
In your pursuit of glory in GAC, what have you been doing this week in preparation for next month's GAC?
So that's a loaded question, because I am trying to get up as many characters as I possibly can to get me into the highest tier as I possibly. I want to inflate my roster.
Okay.
You're deliberately trying to inflate your roster. You're deliberately fluffing your roster.
Oh, it's fluffy. It is a nutter butter sandwich.
Okay.
It is. There's a lot of fluff.
And the purpose for this fluffiness is
the bigger the roster, the harder the fall.
So you're deliberately fluffing your roster so that you can lose more.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I've got a secret
it's
weapon.
It's a bold strategy.
It is.
It's a bold strategy.
Here's the thing. On the off chance that I win, it is far more embarrassing to my opponent than it should be. So I've been saving this. I haven't wanted to say anything to anyone because it's kind of a secret. I have all of the Gamorrean Guard shards to bring him to 7-star. I have them all. I have them all. He is 100 out of 100. I just haven't hit the button yet. Right.
You want to join Scorch with the Relic 7 Gamorrean, or not Relic 7, but High Relic Gamorrean Guard? Oh
no, I'm not even gonna put. I'm not even gear level. He sucks. Let's see, gear level. He's, I think 7, maybe 8. I don't know. He's not very high, and I don't plan on. But that extra bonus right before the GAC begins, right when I lock in, boom, putting him up to star number 7.
It's not going to fluff your GP too much, though. I mean,
like an extra 1,000.
Gonna put an extra 1,000
but
on there.
It's the
thought of it.
The thought of it, yeah. Because again, what happens when they lose to a Relic 7 Gamorrean Guard with 0 mods?
Okay.
It's insulting.
All jokes aside, Thaddeus, clearly, I think you're very similar to me in some ways. There's not really a heavy competitive bone in your body. So why do you play the game? I think that's the really the important question that we should attempt to answer here.
Why do
you play the game?
That is a great question. I play the game. Hold on. First off, my name's Thaddeus, and I'm an addict. I've been playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes for 5 years now, 4-ish and a half. I don't know. It's a lot. I'm I'm a, what do they call those? Oh, I've fallen off the wagon a few times. Let's
Mhm.
be honest. Especially like with my YouTube channel, as much as I love doing it, I've fallen off the wagon as of late. You could blame COVID and you wouldn't be necessarily wrong.
But not completely right either.
But also not completely right either. The idea that it's all of COVID's fault isn't, you know. Anyways, where was I going with that? So, I love Star Wars, and I love, one of the things that I do love about this game, and I wish that they would go back to this part. Remember when we had like 2 years ago the Galaxy of Marquees, and it was all marquee events, and we got all these new characters, and it was like, oh, this is so much fun. I got this new character, and then because everyone did this, you would look at the character and just spin them around for hours. You know, that's what I would do. I'd be like, oh, cool. The short answer, I love collecting digital Barbie dolls. I do. It's a lot of fun to me, or fun for me, not to me or on me. Fun
It's
on
kind of
me
like a
would be weird.
this
Yeah.
is getting weird. Kind of a cathartic feeling, maybe.
Yeah. It's when I'm having a bad day, I can come down to my lair, drink some caffeinated beverages,
Hashtag not
and
too much by Coke.
and brood. You know, look at my works, ye mighty, and despair, kind of a thing. And all joking aside, one of the things that I love about this game, and the thing that keeps me playing, even though yes, I don't have much of a competitive bone in my body, I do like some of the challenges. I do like some of the stuff. I play because of the community.
Mhm.
The community is, it's just fun. You know, even when it's like frustrated or angry, or which it is a lot, and a lot
In many ways, rightfully so.
in many ways, rightfully so. Yeah, I won't say that they're wrong, because absolutely they are. But really, it's the community that I think has kept me playing. You know, I've made a lot of really good friends through here, and if not good friends, really strong, pleasant acquaintances that I enjoy spending time with, and that's
So-
wonderful.
Obviously, very, very important, very, very unique situation we find ourselves in with GAC, in that Division 1 and Division 2 players going forward will have to find two fleets for the ship node in GAC. How are you going to cope with that?
Definitely going to be using my resistance Admiral, what the bloody hell is
The
her name?
Radis?
The Radis.
The Radis. Yes, I'll be using the Radis and the Finalizer on defense.
So you have both Radis and Finalizer.
I'll be using the Radis on defense.
And what about the Get 2 ships? Do the Negotiator and the Malevolence? You got either of those?
I do have the Negotiator.
Mhm.
I do not have the Malevolence, because I feel that that would take away from the lives that were lost during the Clone Wars.
So you're sitting on 7 capital ships.
More or less, yes.
Yeah. Have you got all of the? Have you got the smaller ships to go with those capital ships, or are you far behind?
I have them. I don't have them functional.
Are we gonna? Are you saying that we're gonna see the loss count crank up on the fleet node?
Yes.
So you're going to be using the extra fleet as an opportunity to get an extra couple of losses. Bearing in mind that you will only be able to lose 5 times.
True.
You're only actually going to be able to lose 5 times.
For now. I do have enough to lose 5 times. Let's see.
Unless you just put 1 fleet in defense and then save the other 6 for 6 losses.
Oh, no. That's, I mean, you've got to lose with honor, Nev.
Okay.
You can't.
You gotta place a full defense at least.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a great defense.
I mean, it's only when I forget to log in do I actually say, do I actually not try? That's when I forget to log in. That's when I do that. But like when I log in, I'm going full bore. Granted, it might be full bore in the wrong direction for a win, but it's full bore.
So you go for the win until you realize that victory is not going to happen, and then you go full bore in the other direction to try and get as many losses as possible. So it's right, that's it. I'm not going to beat this person. They've defeated me. Victory is never going to happen. So let's see how many times I can lose.
He takes the real victory at the end of the day.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
you like to lose in style.
Here's the thing. It's all about the work that you put in, Nev. Like you can put a team in that's going to be a great defensive team that's going to hold. And then you've got those teams on your offense that you're are going to do well. And then those backups just in case. That takes what? 20 minutes, 25. I mean, if you're really, I mean, for those of us who stream sometimes, an hour. But here's the thing. There's no work in that, right? The real work, the real grind to the GAC comes when you are putting in one person after another, trying to get the count. That takes effort. That takes time. And it's a painful thing. You have to sacrifice. My butt literally hurt when I was, and that could be taken in a number of directions. But I was sitting for so long losing that my legs were numb when I got up.
Did your finger hurt?
My finger, my mouse finger, because but
the claw grip was hurting.
My claw. This is the Darth Lazius's, right? The on the side note is it's pull my finger is the repulse, right?
Okay, so let's get back on track before this completely derails and it goes completely and utterly sideways.
I mean, it's going like Thaddeus's GAC battles go.
Yes. So yeah, let's try and avoid the interview going the same way your GAC rounds go.
So you don't want a full loss? You don't want to fully scrap this interview yet?
We don't want the interview to go full Thaddeus. Not yet. But what we do want to know is what are you doing? What are you doing with your channel? Where can people find you? And do you have anything particularly planned other than losing in GAC? That is not a valid answer. We know about that. Okay. What else are you doing on your channel, and where can people find you?
So you can find me at Going Nerdy on Twitch and at Real Going Nerdy on Twitch, and then Going Nerdy youtube.com/Going Nerdy. Real Going Nerdy on Twitter, on Instagram. My channel is in a very unique phase. I will be continuing to post Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes content. I want to start doing some more beginner guides. I know a lot of people have those, but I think, right now a lot of channels are focused on, end type stuff that we tend to forget that there are new players in the game, and I want to make content to help them out. And additionally, I will be playing Squadrons when it comes out on Friday. So very excited. I feel like my computer that I just put together is capable of running it without dying or exploding. Granted, I put it together, so those things may still happen.
That's scary.
Yeah. But no, I've got some stuff going, and recently I've started streaming some nightly. I've been playing Age of Empires 2, the definitive edition.
Ooh, that's the fun one.
And it's just I've been playing it a lot. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm gonna play it, I might as well stream it, because then we can talk to people and stuff. And so I've streamed that the other day. I'm gonna finish the battle that I was doing probably tomorrow night, and do some more of that. So that's where I'm at. You can find me there. and
Excellent.
stuff.
Okay, so now what we normally do here at the end of the interview is we take a clip, a triumphant clip. But since you seem to like owning losing so much, we're gonna play it. We're gonna play you out with one of your defeats. So on the other side of this break, we'll get to our final thoughts and acknowledgements after everybody has seen a triumphant loss from Going Nerdy.
Excellent.
Welcome back, folks. Thought you'd give you a, just a little taste for the losses that Thaddeus incurred during that battle. That was a small taste of a 7.5-minute video he sent me of all the solos he threw against that Ray to lose, and the Wookiees. And the Wookiees, an Ugnaught, and an Ewok was just 30 seconds. That was just 30 seconds of a 7.5-minute video. Yeah. So anyway, it's thoughts and acknowledgements. So do your thing, Flair.
We've got our usual spiel. We actually only had a follower tonight, Nivmet, which, unless numbers have changed, that sounds like that would be 701.
Yeah.
The channel. So thank you so much, Nivmet, for the follow. 701. Yes, Paul's confirming that. So yeah. Neil, so we're at the halfway mark in the show, and we are in many ways. The show is changing, both in logistics and the formatting, and in some other stuff happening. So I figure we take the last couple of minutes of the show to kind of discuss that. And
yeah, absolutely.
And make that kind of clear for everybody, especially because we are past the halfway mark.
Yes, we are past the halfway mark. Big changes coming up. The biggest change to the way that we are splitting our leagues is something that I think every single person that plays GAC that is in Division 1 complains about. And that is the lack of separation between the lower GP and the higher GP. So, as of next month, we are reorganizing our Division 1 leagues into 3. So it's no longer just going to be
like
split.
We've been doing.
Yeah. Sorry, what?
Instead of the 2 that we've been doing.
Yeah, instead of splitting the GP in the middle, what we will be doing is we will have 3 leagues from Division 1. It will be 4.5 to 5.5, 5.5 to 6.5, and then 6.5 plus. So we are going to. So next week, when we do the show for next week, you will see 3 separate leagues for Division 1. It will still be Division 1 Elite, and it will still be Division 1 Standard, but the lowest one, which is going to be the 4.5 to the 5.5. Paul came up with the name. It's the freshman division. It's the babbies. It's the people just being nurtured into Division 1.
It's the
coming
new
from Division
faces
2.
to Div 1.
It's the newest people going into Div 1. So we're splitting it down a million at a time. Obviously, 6.5 onwards, we know that there are some people way above 7.5 and heading towards the 8 million. But there are fewer of them than there are, to be honest with you, the majority is in the middle. Going from the 5.5 to the 6.5. That's where the majority of it is. We felt we had to do this because 2/3 of our competitors are now in Division 1. And over the next month, we know of at least 2 more people that are highly likely to be in Division 1. So it's just the way, we're going to have 40 competitors by the end of next month in Division 1. And the knock-on effect of that is We've, we retired Division 6. We are now retiring Division 5. And the reason why we're retiring Division 5 is the 4 top contenders of Division 5 all got promoted to Division 4 at the same time, with
Actually,
one exception.
Bulldog has not moved over, has not jumped up yet, as far as we're aware.
No. His GP has gone over it has crossed the threshold.
Did it go over before lock-in though?
Pretty sure it did, but I will double check.
But so yeah, we'd have to confirm that. But so I guess this is where I'll take over for a moment. Obviously I am very much the smallest GP out of everyone in GACenter. And on top of that, and just a couple other reasons, mostly me wanting to kind of get back to kind of some familiar roots, wanting to be more variety, and not wanting to be kind of pigeonholed into SWGOH, like I have been for quite a while now. I'm actually going to be bowing out gracefully from GACenter. And obviously we're still going to be doing, I'll still be the co-host, everything, but I just will not be playing GAC for the purposes of GACenter.
Yeah, we talked about it, and we can't justify keeping Division 5 going for the sake of one account.
Yes.
We can't.
We're talking at least a solid 2 months, because I don't jump quick. I'm now strictly free to play on my SWGOH account.
We just couldn't. And as a result of all of those people jumping from Div 5 to Div 4, we will be returning to a Division 3 for being separate. So when we come back next week, it will be a separate Div 4, separate Div 3, separate Div 2, and then Division 1 will be separated into Freshman, Standard, and Elite. So we'll be going back to everybody being in their own little divisions, and that's the way that we're going to. That's the way that we're going to proceed. That's going to be the way that we move forward. But
so lots of changes. It's all for the better of the show.
It's all for the better of the show.
So,
there is one other thing that we will be doing. Now, obviously, we discussed this. We discussed this at the beginning of month 3. We discussed it around about month 2. Obviously, the ultimate goal for this season, the reward for this season, is to create a Premier League. We're going to create a Premier League of the 10 best statistically accomplished competitors in one division, one Premier League. It's obviously that's just going to be the Division 1 players. But what we're going to do every single month is it's kind of like we're going to show you, if the league ended today, these are the 10 people that would be in it. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the 8 statistical best players out of Elite and Standard, and then we're going to throw in the 2 best out of the freshmen, because you got to give the people, you've got to give the competitors in throughout all of Division 1, an incentive to want to, do better and win. So obviously the onus is on, the emphasis is on the Elite and the Standard players, because they're the ones with a higher GP, they're the ones with the tougher rosters. But it would make the freshman Division 1 meaningless if we didn't include at least the top 2 people. So, to maintain and ensure that there is a competitive edge across all of our leagues in Division 1, it'll be the top 2 out of there. And then it doesn't matter where they fall in Elite and Standard. It is the 8 most statistically competitive best players from those 2 leagues will be in, and then 2. So what we'll do every single month is we'll throw up where the 10 best are, so that the people in those leagues can see, that's who I need to be. I need to be achieving a status better than that competitor, so everybody knows who they are. So what I'll do is I'm going to switch back to the main quickly, Flair, just before we end the show. Switch back. And I'm just going to fire up. This is what it currently looks like. Okay. This is what it looks like at the moment. So, and obviously this is all going to change. I see this all changing drastically. I do genuinely think that this is going to change massively because obviously there are 4 fleets required in GAC now. No longer 2 required. You don't need just 1 for offense and 1 for defense. It's 2 for defense and 2 for offense. So I think that it is, I really, really do genuinely think that this is massively going to change. You know, so if the season ended now, these would be the 10 competitors going into the Premier League. Obviously, my name is there, but as soon as Fortmore gets promoted, I will no longer be there, and he will be there unless he loses. We'll lose Fortmore, but yeah. So that is the way that we're going to work it, so that everybody knows. We will flash that up every single month. It's going to change month on month on month, but obviously at the end of the season, that will be populated, and then those 10 people will compete in season 1, and we'll have a great big massive trophy and maybe even a prize. That's not to say, and then what we'll do is we'll simply have a excuse me, we'll have a 3 in and 3 out. So at the end of every season, the worst 3 people competing will be kicked out of the Premier League and sent back to their respective divisions, and the top performers in each of the elite, the standard, and the freshman will be promoted to the Premier League. And you know, and that's the way that we'll proceed, and those are the ones we're going to highlight. So that's the way it is. So if you stuck around to watch that, there you go. Now you know what the changes are.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, as a reminder, like we mentioned before, break 1, starting next during this next month, we will be having the patron board. And that is going to be a little more detail for that. If you go to patreon.com/escape podcast, you can see all the tiers you can support the show at, and the channel, and the whole network. But if you are a patron at the $10 Kyber Combatant tier, the Escape Pod, sorry, Paul. If you support the Escape Pod at the $10 Kyber Combatant tier, you are eligible to have your account and everything be covered on a patron exclusive board that will be during break 1. Paul will be producing that segment. I believe he's accompanied by a certain droid known as the Noob. And yeah, so that's gonna be something really exciting. It's just kind of our way of giving back to the community and supporters of the whole network. So yeah.
Excellent. Right. Okay, we've gone over now. So
yeah, we've definitely gone over.
We've definitely gone over now.
So Neil, what's going on in the world of the Escape Pod cast?
Well, I haven't locked in yet, but GAC is back on, so obviously there's going to be 3 GA streams next week. Really, really looking forward to it. My group of 8 isn't looking that hot for Fleet, and I am, so we'll just have to wait and see. We'll see what happens there. Obviously, we've got the show coming up this Friday. That will be pretty standard, the Escape Pod cast on this channel, and then obviously later on. But big thing. Hopefully, I will be streaming. Fingers crossed. I will be streaming Star Wars Squadrons on Friday, providing they release the game 1 minute past midnight on Friday. But if they don't, well then, fingers crossed. I'll be streaming it over the weekend.
Also, as well, Llama has just posted this in chat as well. For those of you who play Lego Legacy Heroes Unboxed, Gameloft, the developers of the game, will actually be on the Lego Legacy Escape podcast on Thursday. Thursday night. So if you want to tune into that live, be here Thursday night and get to see the developers take part in the podcast. So big exciting times going on around here. Over on my, and this is at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And over in my neck of the woods, going, like I've said, I'm taking a little bit of a step back from SWGOH. I'll still be covering it on Saturday as part of the Chain Gang. But I will be doing We actually just spent a little bit of time today covering a brand new patch in Marvel Strike Force. I'm probably gonna try and go back and revisit Marvel's Avengers. I need to finish that because Captain America is freaking awesome. But yeah, and then just covering some other games. So that's pretty much about it. Anything else, Neil?
No, we're good to go, mate.
All right, guys, thank you all so much. Seriously, we are 3 months into the show, and this has been something awesome to look forward to every single week. It's a lot of work for us, but I definitely think that we can all agree that this has been definitely fruitful. Seriously, thank you so much for the support and the views and everything else, and follows and bits and everything that you all do throughout the course of these episodes, and the support you show the community as a whole. We will see you guys back here, same time, same place next week as we cover week 1 of month 4. So until then, Neil, push the button.
You got it, mate. Ta-ta for now, folks.